Let's continue with a couple more transformations. This one, I'm still going to go ahead and plot my original parent function. Remember, we have these 3 points, and I'm just going to dash that in to give us an idea of what it looked like. Same thing on number 4, and dash in the parent function. All right, let's look at transformations. I have a negative sign. That means I am reflecting over the x-axis. Remember, a negative out in front, not in parentheses, is a reflection over the x-axis. It affects y values. I also have a 5 out in front, and a 5 out in front is going to be a vertical stretch, so it's stretching up towards the vertical or y-axis. I see that I have a number out in front multiplied, then that is a stretch, just like this. Again, a negative out in front, that is reflecting over the x-axis. The other thing that I saw in that was a -2 on the inside, and that's going to move us to the right by 2 units because it's in the form of a negative inside the parentheses. All right, let's go ahead and plot our function by plugging in a couple of points. So if I plug in, I'm going to plug in a 2 here so that this entire thing goes to 0, and anything times 0 is 0, so I will be at 2, 0. Let's go ahead and plug in a 3. If I plug in 3, I'll have 1 cubed, which is 1, and then times -5 will give me -5. Let's do one more point on the left-hand side. Let's plug in a +1 here. So overall, this will be -1 cubed will still be -1, and then multiplied by -5, those two negatives will make a positive. So I will be at the point 1, +5, and you can see that we have a very tall, skinny graph now. So let's recap what we did. We did a reflect over x. We can see that because we can see that this looks the opposite direction now. It has reflected. And then we did a vertical stretch by 5. And then finally, we moved to the right by 2. One more to go. This time we have a fraction on the inside with x. Let's take a look at what that does. And we already know that something tacked on the end is a vertical translation up or down, in this case down. All right, fraction on the inside of parentheses, just like this, it says it is a horizontal stretch by the reciprocal. Notice a 1/2 here becomes a stretch by the reciprocal of 2. So that's going to end up being a horizontal stretch by a factor of 2. Let's go ahead and draw our graph first. So I'm going to plug in a 0 here, which will make this entire term 0, and I will be left with a -4. If I plug in, let's see, I don't want to plug in a 1 because then I'm dealing with fractions, but if I plug in a 2 here, this whole thing will go to 1. 1 minus 4 will give me -3, so the point 2, -3 will be another point. And then let's do the same thing with a -2. If I plug in a -2 for x, overall I'll get a -1 in the parentheses, -1 cubed, still -1, and then -4 gives me a -5. So at the point -2, I'm at -5. And so this has gotten wider. It has stretched towards the horizontal axis or away from the vertical axis. Let's recap what we did. We did a horizontal stretch by 2, and we also moved down 4.